Good evening and welcome to another episode of Chap, shmooze with your host, Yaakov Berger, where we get to meet some well known and perhaps some not so well known personalities here in Lakewood. Tonight, we have with us Mark Abadi, the owner of We Shoot. Mark, welcome.
It's a
Nice to
pleasure.
meet
Thank
you.
you, Jacob. Nice to meet you.
How you
Pleasure.
doing? So,
Um,
before we get into the meat and gravy of tonight's episode about We Shoot, um, something's been bothering me, and that is that why is it called the We Shoot? Isn't it supposed to be called like You Shoot? Why?
so actually, it was I shoot, but somebody took that
Oh, so I took it
over.
really.
Yeah, we actually did everything I shoot, and then we got a response from another shot. So we feel like we do it as a community, we do it as a team, as people.
Achdus.
Achdus, always together for fun. We never thought about nothing other than just shooting for fun. Friends and family involved,
I
all
hear you.
training, all being ready.
I hear. Nice. Mark, what can you tell me about yourself? Where are you from? Give me a little bit of a history about
So I was
your
born
life.
actually in San Antonio, Texas, 1978.
Okay.
But I right away I went to Mexico after like a month or so. My father's from Brooklyn. My mother is Mexican. I lived 36 years over there, and then 7 years ago, I had the pleasure and honor moving here to New Jersey. And the reason I was born in San Antonio is actually because I'm adopted.
Okay.
Uh, so I'm an only child, and I'm an architect of profession, but I've been involved working in Mexico a lot with security. So many countries around the world, you know, they don't, with the Jewish communities, we don't trust the police. We are honoring in America to have a great police department. You can trust them, but that's not the case in everywhere in the world. So I actually got involved into security because I was training with the Israeli embassy how to keep our schools, institutions, community, JCC centers secured. After that, I got out of the construction part and I got involved a lot into politics. I served with three Mexican presidents, actually, um, in different ways, each one all related to security, national security. I actually designed, I built, and I put I made it running the equivalent of the CIA is called CISEN in Mexico. So the war room for for the president of Mexico, I actually was totally involved into it. I had the honor to, it was Felipe Calderon was the president at that time. I also was part of the Mexico City government as a civilian, always as a civilian, never part of the government. I was in charge 5 years of they do like a drill of earthquake. The whole city has to evacuate and we do it. So I was the civilian part of it and also in security. I was very involved into security for the Jewish community, and also overall I was second in command as a civilian part in Guadalajara for the Pan American Olympic Games. I sold equipment. I also was in charge part of it, always in the civilian part. As part of my job, I've been always training with different the IDF since I was a kid. I can remember I actually started with a 16-year-old shooting guns with them. I had trained also with the Mossad. I was never part of Mossad, let me be clear, or IDF. I was just I had the honor to train with them. Also, federal police in
An
Mexico.
observer, I guess, to them, or you were there to help
No,
them
I
out,
was
or
trained for my work. So because I was involved in security
I
and
got
the
it.
Jewish community, the safety of the community overall, I was involved in training. So I was training farms, mostly handguns. It is hard in a place like Mexico because there's no Second Amendment, over there. So
I see.
there's only one store in the entire country, run by the military, and you have to buy your gun over there. You
By the
cannot.
way, just people should know. Obviously, the Second Amendment rights is the right to bear arms, and like you said, in
Correct.
Mexico, they do not have a Second Amendment right.
Almost no country has it in the world. I don't even know any other country that has it.
It's also scary, Bart. Again, forgive me for interrupting, because my understanding is that Mexico can be a little. You mentioned that were very involved with the Jewish community down there. Um, they don't have your typical civilian, not protected by any Second Amendment right or the
Nothing.
like. Unfortunately, though, there's a lot of crime down there, and my understanding is that the Jews have not been. They've been susceptible to a lot of the violence and stuff,
Especially
which is
kidnappings. We're subject a
kidnappings,
lot to
right?
kidnappings. I think almost every shoe got mugged a few, no, got point a few times.
Well,
Criminals and police, they live next to each other. They pay so, I mean, police officer in Mexico is not a good job. They don't pay well. At that time, I'm talking maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe they got paid around $400 a month. So now your neighbor is a criminal, and he pays you better.
Right.
so,
There.
so at this point, we had to take security in our hands. We still had police officers there, but understanding that, learning from history, you need to look after yourself. Nobody's going to come and save you. At the end of the day, you have to be ready to save yourself.
So let me ask you then, when did you actually move to the States?
7 years ago, um, happens to be that they tried to kidnap me 3 times.
They tried to kidnap you three
Three
times.
times. The third time, I actually already had me.
Well, let's hear about the first time.
I was probably like a kid, maybe. Actually, I was one of the first kids who actually has bodyguards in Mexico, which is crazy. I remember having a car following my bus. I was told it was there, and I was never actually seeing it. Then, when I was older, around maybe the 20s, and then I was like 28, I believe, I was already married. I just came up from a trip from Canada. My wife was pregnant with my second kid. And I decided to make a quick stop at my work. I got there and I hear people on the floor and praying and doing things like I thought somebody had collapsed or died. So I went down to provide CPR to the person. And then I feel just a hit in my head. I start seeing blood all over and I just see a gun pointed at my head. And they keep asking me, where's Mark Abadi? Where's Mark Abadi? So at this point, I had a driver that also did as a bodyguard type of personality, but he was old enough. So he just telling me like, they don't know who you are. They had
Why were they specifically asking for you by name?
money wise. I was very involved in politics.
Like
I
you
was
mentioned
very, I
earlier,
was
right.
like I don't want to say celebrity, but I was very known in the community. I work a lot with politicians, and everybody has any amount of money in Mexico, right away becomes a target. So at this point, I just took out my American passport. I was just saying, I'm gringo, and they never opened my passport. They let me go.
You said gringo, right?
Gringo,
Gringo
yeah.
meaning American.
American. That's how
In
we refer to
Spanish, right?
Americans in Mexico. So at this point, they let me go. I was fortunate. I got home, all bloodied. My wife said, like, this is enough.
We're out of there.
So we came here for a year. I had family here in New Jersey. My grandmother was here. My uncles were here. And 1 year converted to second, third, and then we decided just to stay.
That's quite a fascinating story. Um, uh,
Just by
so
the way, my father got
yes,
kidnapped twice.
your father he
So
was
he
kidnapped
came in,
twice.
yeah, 2 years before me. So yeah, so that's why we also said like my father, not myself, different type of kidnap, not the same as I had, but still, it's still scary.
Amazing, amazing. I want to get straight into what's probably one of the hot topics of today. And obviously, that's something that's very important to the business that you provide. And that is with the latest government easing up the regulations. I don't even know, should we call it easing up or should we just call it tapping into or bringing back or restoring the Second Amendment rights? Something. What can you tell our audience about the the new laws that the Supreme Court, I believe it is,
Yes,
they
correct.
just passed into law, and also how, if at all, that affects your business. So let's just start, I guess, with just the what is it that just happened now in the United States that that's been on everyone's radar, so to speak.
So each government interpret differently the Second Amendment. So I assume militia meant, army, cops, not actual civilians. And New Jersey being one of them, they say, okay, you can have the right to arm yourself and defend yourself at home. Who said you have the right to do it outside in public? So what the Supreme Court actually said is very important. They say not only we have the right to defend ourselves in public, which is major, we don't need to show proof. It's a gun-given right. So Second Amendment doesn't give us the right to carry a gun. Actually forbids the government to interfere with our God-given right to defend ourselves.
Interesting.
Defending ourselves can be multiple different issues. It's just self-defense. They also stated that it doesn't apply to old like muskets. They actually said it applies to modern common use firearms, which is great because you've been
Yeah,
hearing a lot of the
most
news.
of our listeners don't know what a musket is, but
Well,
we're
musket
going back
is the old ones
to
of
the
the
1700, that is
yeah
1700s,
early
1800s.
1800s,
18, yeah, yeah.
1700s. The Independence Revolution, all those
Sure,
type of,
sure,
of guns are very hard to load. It's like saying that the First Amendment only applies to telegraph or to letters instead of the internet.
of course.
So what the Supreme Court is major. It's not just that they actually made every single state from. There's three different categories. There used to be like may issue, shall issue, and the constitutional carry. May issue meant you were not allowed to carry. The government had the power to say if you fulfill the requirements to whatever requirements they put on to carry. Shall issue is different. Is You're allowed to carry unless the government can disqualify you. And constitutional carries, you don't ask for permission. Constitution is, Second Amendment is your permission, you can carry. Assuming you're a law-abiding citizen, okay? Assuming you're doing it in a legal way. So this removed the might issue and made it shall issue. Now, New Jersey always had a concealed carry for civilians. It was just extremely hard to get. I was one of the luckiest ones to actually have a concealed carry from before. I'm actually in my second year now on the concealed carry. But I actually didn't get it as a civilian just like that. I actually had to be hired by a security company to be able to be armed guard in my shul. So that's how it was limited only and restricted only when I was working as a security guard at my shul. I could not use my concealed carry any other place. Now, this new ruling does a lot. The laws didn't change in concealed carry. We just removed the part that says, show us a letter of need. Why you need to carry? I want to defend myself. Now that's enough,
Interesting.
which is important. And also brings that it can be done in public, which you're going to see government in New Jersey trying to block that part away.
Very interesting. Have you seen a membership increase as a result of this, or it's
Definitely yes. Overall, our membership is triple since the day we bought. It used to be Brick Armory first. Then 2 years ago, well, for 5 years after it was Garden State Shooting Center, and then it became We Shoot. From Garden State, we bought around 600 members. Right now, we're closing up almost to 2,000 members.
wow? That's amazing.
Yeah.
And does your membership? What's the age? What's the youngest and what's the oldest that you
So
have?
to be able
Your
to member,
members.
you have to be at least 18. You have
Okay.
to be able to own a firearm at some point, which is at this point is only long, like rifles, shotguns, not pistols. Pistols 21. But to be able to shoot, there's no actual limit by law. So the insurance company does put a limit, and it's 10 years or older. So if you're with a parent or a legal guardian, you can shoot certain rifles at 10 or older,
Only 10 or older, not younger than that.
not
Have
younger
you
than
ever
that.
seen anyone coming in like sporting like a fake mustache or beard and trying to
No,
get no?
but I
Oh.
did see a lot of people bringing their kids. Believe it, I'm talking toddlers, like 2-year-old.
Toddlers.
Yes, and we have to say no.
It's real chinuch. You got to start them when you're young.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
but not that
it's-
young.
Any surprises? Meaning to say that somebody walked in, some I don't know, maybe some rabbi with a big beard or something that surprised you as coming in.
Well, at
to
first,
join.
yes. Now it's common to see, rabbis or people that look like rabbis coming into Wishoot all the time. Yes,
I see.
not just rabbis. We're also getting a lot of female, a lot of women coming in, religious.
You're talking
women.
about from the Jewish community.
Yes, they actually let us know that they got permission from the rabbi, from the husband, and that's how we instated a female instructor to teach women. And by the way, all of our instructors understand they cannot touch women. They cannot touch. They all
Sure.
know that part. So we make sure that we're caring for the Jewish community as well. That's part of our service.
But what do you do to make certain that the woman that's coming to train is not there because she got into a spat with her spouse? You're
Well-
not going to show this. You're not going to show this, but I had to say that. Talk about it.
That's a joke, bro.
Yeah, whatever. Have their the membership? Yeah. So I think this is an important question to ask because you have a shooting range in Lakewood, New Jersey,
Yes.
home to one of the largest Orthodox, not just the largest Orthodox Jewish population on the East Coast, but Lakewood is founded around the yeshiva community. Obviously, it's branched out now to many, many different areas. But have you ever been met with any flack, pun intended, because that could possible? How do you have a shooting range in Lakewood?
So before even Lakewood, my partner Ellie, he's the first one that told me, "Are you not?" When I told him the idea about doing a range, he's like, "Are you nuts?" He had kids that were about to get engaged, and like, who's gonna want to, marry when they're the other family is involving guns, and I also got a lot of backlash from my own community in Deal. At first, I think people didn't understood what's needed. The recent events changed everything. Once we saw the riots, once we saw people saying
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh.
the shooting here,
the shooting in Jewish places,
California.
California, all the attacks, defund the police. Once we see the police being, prosecuted for
Sure.
defending people. Once they
Sure.
say we're not getting involved, people woke up and realized that this is a need. So it changed. Of course, when we started doing in Lakewood, we wanted it to, the community to welcome us. So we went to the Bedin over there. We presented our business, our case to the Bedin. We also needed a permission to be able to open on Shabbat. We have a non-Jewish partner with us, and we actually worked things out. It took a few weeks, actually maybe more, like probably like 2 months. But of course, we were questioning like, do we really need this in our community? Do we really want this? We're loving peace. We love peace. We hold life at the top. As a Jewish people. So why doing this? And my response was to them was a few things. First, we learned from Yaakov. Yaakov prepared. Right? He's meeting Esav at this moment. So he did three things. Right? He prayed. So he got involved, which is the first thing to do always. He separated his camps just in case. We also prepared to war. So the actual legal name is Parabellum Sporting Goods. Parabellum comes from a Latin word that is, if you want peace, prepare for war. The best way to have peace is for people to know that you're ready to react. You're not a victim. Being a victim most of the time is a choice. No, it's because you let yourself be chosen as a victim. The attacker doesn't just randomly pick somebody. They choose their victim to a certain degree that they can have more success. So also with the part of Esav, son Yaakov, being halacha, in the halacha books, it's not just a nice saying. Well, not nice, but it's not just a saying. It comes in the halacha. It's written, I think it's Rambam or Maimonides times in the halacha book. So and 3,000 years of history. We made a decision to, when we say never again, to actually mean it. Lema'aseh, not just a nice thought. So of course, we don't believe everybody, needs a gun. We do believe that as a community, we should be prepared to defend ourselves.
In other words, it's not that, Baruch Hashem, I've been living in Lakewood since '93, and it's not like you have other communities that are really under the gun, meaning to say that you really feel there's a constant threat. I mean, as the Jewish community grows, yes, you do have incidents of anti-Semitism and whatnot, and unfortunately, like we experienced with the car ramming that happened over a few months ago, and one of the members of our community is still suffering from that, and only by tremendous miracles from Hashem, some of the other victims they walked out. Tremendous nace, and we continue to pray for those that still need refuah shalema.
Amen.
Um, but you're saying that even though we're talking about very unique, they're very random cases, nevertheless, um, you would suggest that there's still a need for members of
Well,
the
let me put it. This might be my perspective. I might be wrong, but we always were waiting for the Mashiach, correct? And there's many ways the rabbis tell us how this is going to come. One of them is it's not going to be a peaceful time. So at one point I say like it's like going to pray for rain, not taking an umbrella. So there's a chance the world is going to be in chaos at some point. There's always a chance. Might not be the case against the community. You just might be chosen for whatever reason. Doesn't have to be an anti-Semitic attack. Can be just somebody mugging your house. Where I live in Deal, every week they're stealing cars. There's a Russian band stealing cars. So now they start breaking into houses. First it was outside. They saw no response. Now they're going inside the house. So it is always good. We're not looking for trouble. We're peaceful people. We love our brothers. We love everybody. We teach our children to be a good part of society. But at some point also we need to teach them the same as how to swim, how to do stuff. There's a part that of the community how to respond to an event.
It's funny. Just on a personal anecdote, I had my grandfather of blessed memory. So he was in Auschwitz for 3 years, and he always used to push us. You have to have a gun. You have to own a gun. You have to own a gun. But there was there's this story in our family. So my grandfather actually he owned a gun. He owned a few guns actually. He owned the 38 Special and shotgun and um, some other you know guns. But at any rate, so the two stories actually happened in my family that come to mind. Number one, when my parents were dating, so they and my father of blessed memory was driving with my mother one night So they were jiggling the knob. They tried said the key wasn't working or something. They were trying to get into the house, and then all of a sudden my mother starts screaming, "Dad, no, no, no! It's us! It's us!" She's looking up at my grandfather. My grandfather was standing down from the long flight of steps, wearing his lange gotchkes and a schlufkappel. That's the yarmulke go to sleep
Yeah.
with, and he's pointing he's pointing a 38 down at them. And but another time, what happened was he had a customer that he had not a customer, he had a worker that he had fired because he was stealing merchandise from him. And one night, the guy broke into the store, and my grandfather caught him breaking into the store, and he was about to shoot him. And my grandmother, the behest of my grandmother, she should live and be well. She said, she told him, to stop doing it. But getting back to the Lakewood scene, what would you say? Would you say that the clientele, the members that come in, are they doing it for recreation? Are they doing it to prepare themselves? Are they doing it for sport? What would you say? What are people? What's
I
your
mean,
client?
a big part just come for fun, just to try it out. They're renting a gun. We actually did something a wishy where we tried to de-escalate the way that people see gun range, like, oh, it's a place of death, to a place that you can actually go on a date, the place you can go with the family. So we changed this skulls and death part to family, and that's how we do the date night, to people to be able to bring their family there. Other people are actually for training for self-defense. Other people preparing for war, very few, but most people are there for either fun, for competition. It is a skill that actually requires for you to concentrate a lot, to control your emotions, control your all your movements in your body, even your breathing sometimes, so you can actually place a perfect shot. We actually have, and this is to me was shocking. We were recently started, and we're getting people bringing kids for therapy. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Yes, so they have kids around, probably in the 16, 15-year old, and we have a clinic very close to. I don't know the name of the clinic, but they bring every couple of months a few kids, and they do it as therapy,
As a release.
as a release. Uh,
Well, it's not like you change the target to have a picture of the person that they want
no,
to. Oh,
you cannot have actually
okay.
legally. You cannot have, shoot at any pictures of actual real life people.
Right. Right. Well, unless you're training, but he was said when they're training, when FBI or when SWAT, they're training, and they have these placards of people training.
They
They're not
usually drawings usually,
the
and if it's a
drawings.
picture, it has to be a picture that was done for that purpose.
I
Like
see.
if you want to put a ex, president or something, and you put it there, you cannot do that.
Interesting.
Oh, your mother-in-law, let's say you want to put it there.
Oh,
No,
oh, yeah, we're
not
not gonna,
allowed.
we're not going there. No, no, no Schwigger jokes allowed. No, but I can't, I'm not an avid shooter because it's fine as a recreation. For recreation, I have gone shooting here and there over the past whatever many years. Not so much. But what's to stop a person from walking in the range? You don't know a person is deranged. He's suffering from a mental issue or something. What's to stop somebody? He's lined up over there. He's ready to take target practice, and then God forbid,
He shoots somebody else.
right?
So first of all, we all carry guns there. So everybody's armed. So it will have to be somebody really out of their mind, because you will have zero success. Somebody's going to shoot you right away. We have an RSO, which is looking after range safety officer, which is looking after everybody's doing the correct thing. Our walls in between the stalls are AR-500 steel, so an accidental discharge will be stopped right there.
Wow.
And believe it or not, the range is the most polite, I think, business all over Lakewood. Why? Everybody carries a gun. So even if you bump into me, I'm not yelling at you. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, don't worry. We're all polite because we're all armed.
Interesting. It's like I have family that live in Texas, and the famous adage that's down in Texas is "Don't mess with Texas." But
Yeah.
it sounds like where we're headed, it's like don't mess with Jersey or as well. I mean, the way with all the new laws that have been passed. Is there any particular story that sticks out that's, if you would say, funny or amusing or something? I don't know if that a gun range is
Oh
something
yeah.
that's an amusing place, but hey, you never
So
know.
we recently bought a place, and God works, in an amazing way. So first of all, we closed the deal probably 2 years before. It took almost 2 years for this to go through. So now we get a call in May. They tell us, okay, the FFL, which is a license, is ready for you guys. So now we face: should we open? Should we close the deal or not because we closed. COVID is closed. So we spoke to a rabbi, and rabbi says, you gave your word to the previous owners, you have to close on the place. So May 2020, we closed on the place. We open our doors, and it's by appointment only. Slowly, the court decided that the range is a protected place by the Second Amendment. It's a necessity, so they allow us to open the store only. And of course, the riots are happening all over America at this point. So we got like a 80-something-year-old woman, like a grandmother, nice. You look at her like a nicest,
A
not
real
not.
Baba, real Baba.
Yes. So she comes to us and she's like, "Give me two of those COVID zombie shotguns." I'm like,
COVID
"What?"
zombie shotguns.
Yeah, I want to be able to take those zombies out.
Right.
She bought a big shotgun and a small shotgun, and
Better watch out for Granny. Right. Again, yeah.
and up until now, she comes and shoots it every month at the range. She gets
Hysterical.
ready for those zombies. So, of course, we give her free zombie targets because she deserves it. She
That
made
is
us laugh
funny
every time
stuff.
she comes.
That is funny. A question that's on everyone's mind: what is the process? I want to register. I want to, at the very least, I want to. I don't know if I need to have a license to come in and train or for recreation that we shoot, but for argument's sake, I want to purchase a gun. I want to make my hishtadlus to say to protect my family. You want to carry and conceal in my house, whatever it is. What is the process?
So we actually publish in our website, weshootusa.com, a step-by-step guide. So first thing, you need to be at least 21 years old. Otherwise, you cannot have a gun. You must already own a gun. You can doesn't mean you cannot train before, but it's better if you train with the actual gun. Now, concealed carry, even though it's open for everybody, doesn't mean everybody should right away jump into it. It is an advanced skill. It requires a lot. Why? Because carrying a gun, first of all, is most accidents happen when people are drawing or holstering the gun. So you want to know how to do it properly. We want to avoid any accidents, first of all.
By the way, that just interrupt for a second. It reminds me of a story my brother-in-law was out in Texas. He told me, he says one of his favorite stories is that a uh, a fellow that bought a gun into shul on Yom Kippur, and in the middle of the rabbi's sermon, accidentally shot himself in the leg.
Yeah,
But
so
anyway,
that might
yeah,
happen. So um, then we strongly suggest you be comfortable first with your gun. So once you can come to any range, not just wish it, okay? Just make sure you pick up a range that actually is going to help you buy the right gun, not just push you any gun that they want, they have over for a few months over there. So pick up the gun that is right for you. If you don't know, a few ranges offer on how to buy a gun class. Check that, go to that class. At Wishoot, it's a free class every month. So now you have your gun. You buy it perfectly. I suggest take a 2-hour private lesson and get acquainted with your gun one on one. Learn how to safely unload it. Make sure you know how to make a gun safe. Make sure that you're comfortable reloading it, changing magazines, and learn how to work in any malfunctions. This is not going to be a one class. You need a little bit of training into this. Once you're comfortable enough, we just updated our classes. We just changed to only one class, New Jersey CCW class, and it's a full 6-hour class plus shooting. So we go through a lot in that class. First, of course, safety rules. That's always important. Safety. Keep yourself. Again, we're going there to keep our family safe. So first starts with you being safe, then wife, kids, everybody in the house being safe, and then people outside. The public to be safe. So we go through safety, then we go through understanding what's a good gun to carry. Not every gun is meant to be carried. Some guns are meant for competition. Some guns are meant for carrying. Then we go through the laws. This is a very important part, the use of force. There's a lot of misconception in use of force in New Jersey. People tell you if you use a gun at self-defense at home, you're doomed. You're doomed. No, you're not. There's laws for use of force outside in public, there's laws to protect property, and then there's the laws to protect your home. Actually, when it comes to at home, we're actually pretty good. You'll be amazed. If you take that class, you won't believe how good we are with protection at home. After we go through that, we want our students to learn one thing that's very important. It's not just surviving the attack or the threat, it's also surviving the aftermath,
the trauma.
the trauma. So it's gonna using a gun, specifically you actually kill somebody, is gonna have an effect on you, your family. Specifically, let's assume it's at home. Your kids are going to see something they should never have seen in their
Wow.
life. You know,
Wow.
you never intended to kill somebody. We're people that love peace. We value life and overall. So that's going to take a toll on you spiritually, okay, mentally, financially, and legally. So you need to survive all of that. If you don't take the proper training and your training is only based on how to shoot perfect, and you never prepare for the aftermath, and that's the moment you decide to use a gun and you use it, your problems didn't stop there.
Interesting.
You actually started at that moment. The way how you phrase what happened, the way you encounter police, the way you choose a lawyer, everything else, if you don't do it correctly, you might be a hero, but you're gonna hear from jail. And you wanna be back at home. So protecting a family is not only knowing how to shoot, it's knowing when to shoot. Most of the times, let's say I'm gonna put you a scenario. Somebody breaks into somebody's house, okay? Let's say my house. I don't wanna put anybody's in this.
Sure.
So breaks into my house. Now I hear them stealing my car, my TV, whatever. Do I have the right to use my gun? Maybe. Let's just say, for conversation purposes, I see they're carrying guns on themselves. What's my best choice? Go and encounter them, or if they have a safe retreat for me and my family, just take them out. Protect my family not always means using my gun. It's knowing when it's appropriate to use my gun. Most of the times, you're better off retrieving. You have to become an expert at de-escalating things. The moment somebody cuts me off, I don't know, at any intersection here in Lakewood, which hardly
That
ever
never happens.
happens,
Never
never
happens.
happens.
Never. Yeah.
Of course, I have to let it go. I cannot be mad. The moment somebody's yelling at me or doing something at me, I cannot just say, I have a gun, I'm now a superhero.
It's a great place to train, by the way, to do that. Meaning when you're driving in traffic,
Definitely.
because
Defensive,
when God forbid if a
defensive
person is holding a gun with him, you want to be able to have your mindset should always be that if something stressful, tense comes up, you want to be able to be in a
You have to try to,
de-escalation
when
mode.
possible.
So if God forbid you
Yes.
find yourself with, you know,
So we train you on how de-escalation. We
that
train
means
you
that, you
on
know,
how
keep
to
away from the
avoid
kitchen knives as well. I'm just saying.
everything. We train you to how to first avoid being a victim. You know, if you're distracted on your phone all the day, or even reading a book while you're walking on the street, you know, people see you're distracted. You're a potential victim.
Sure.
You have to look like you're not the guy that's going to be just handling whatever his life, your money, whatever. You have to look the part to be able to avoid being a victim. So we teach you that. We teach you how to de-escalate. We teach you many ways to actually avoid using a gun. When using deadly force is necessary, we teach you how to do it properly, okay? And then dealing with the aftermath, which is most people forget about that part. The aftermath is as important as the using of force portion of it.
Now your trainers, whether they teach all this from the beginning, they're the same trainers that they can teach from the how to use the guns and the when not, and train yourself, like you said, de-escalation, and then the aftermath. They're all the same trainers.
So no,
Because
we
like
got
the
yeah.
aftermath, you're talking about like people that need to have like a degree in psychology or something to be able to train, or that's
So
how does that work?
a year ago, when we figured out that this is going to Supreme Court, and we were almost sure that it was going to go to our side, we made a conscious decision to change the training that we should. So most of New Jersey has NRA certified instructors. NRA is great. Regardless of what you think about what they do politically, I'm talking as a training institution. They we were able to establish standards all over America, which is good. And their training will be valid anywhere in America. But USCCA, which we chose to become part of it and get a lot of trainers from them or certified instructors into their program, is about concealed carry. So NRA is good if you're going for range for fun, if you're going competition, that's great. But the moment you make the conscious decision to carry a gun, you need to understand the ramifications, you know, what can come out of it. And that's where USCCA does a great job at it. So we not just have a USCCA instructor, we actually built a team of instructors around this class. Our instructors are USCCA and NRA certified. They're also retired police enforcement, not just police officers. They're actually the instructors of the police department. So anybody that comes to our class, the certificate is going to be signed by the same person who actually signs the state police and the retired police officers. So when they see that signature in that qualification, they know it was a real qualification. We're not rubber stamping anybody. We're making sure you go from where should you leave with a proper training to face the threat and the aftermath. And we're making sure you're carrying a gun with our signature in it.
Amazing.
It's going to be good training. Now, a few rangers are doing the same. As rangers, we talk to each other. So major ranges like RTSP, Gun for Hire, we made the decision to say we're going to do this seriously. We're not going to just rubber stamp. Unfortunately, there's always a few instructors out there that just rubber stamping and I have a lot of friends that just became certified instructors just to be able to teach their friends. They don't understand what it involves carrying a gun. It's not that they don't know. Well, they don't know, but it's not because they really don't want to, because we're never a carrying state. It was never an issue for us. This is a dream come true, and it just hit us right in the face. So the laws are very vague. So we bring a use of force, an expert in use of force, to tell you not just use of force as an overall concept. Based in New Jersey, what happens here? What happens when you use your gun at home? What happens when you use it in your car? The changes, everything is dynamic. For example, using your gun to defend your car is a no good. What happens if a kid is in the car? Changes, you know? What happens if someone breaks into your house, but it's a storm, there's a blizzard outside, and maybe he's just there to protect himself from the blizzard. You cannot shoot him. You cannot even take him outside of your home, But what happens if he's threatening you? Everything changes.
Sure.
So we go through a lot of scenarios. When you need to stop also the deadly force, that's very important. Starting point usually is easy to identify. When to stop is hard.
Interesting. I want to ask an interesting question. I want to get just a tad drop political for a second. The interview is coming to a close, but as we know, unfortunately, we've experienced with the latest terrible shooting that happened near Houston, Texas. In Alfie, what's the name of the place again in Texas? Texas right now. Just had the terrible shooting in South
Oh,
Texas near Houston. The name eludes me right now. Unfortunately, the terrible incident where the teenager walked into the school and killed all those young children.
yes.
So, um, obviously, you
The
have some
Uvalde,
people.
they're talking.
Ovalde,
Yeah,
Ovalde, thank you, Ovalde. So, as we know, you have people on one side of the aisle saying that we have to, curb the gun laws. Obviously, the passage of this new law of the Supreme Court is sort of like definitely, will definitely ruffled their feathers. But is there any validation to their argument that we must curb and we have to enforce and we need stricter gun laws and that will ascertain, that will make certain that these terrible acts of violence that we've experienced over the past 20 plus years, school shootings, it will stop, or it's regardless. You're going to have citizens, safe citizens, caring citizens. The more we arm the citizens of the United States, let's say, the less there will be an issue, and with these unfortunate events that have happened, or not. Is there an argument either way? What's
definitely
your
there's an
take on
argument
that?
to it. I understand the other side, but I also ask him to think of a few things. You cannot legislate evil out of people. Criminals by definition don't follow the laws. As we've seen of the Boston Marathon bomber, he didn't buy a professional bomb. He did it, home.
Made a
Now,
crude
very
homemade bomb,
recent,
right?
the prime minister, I think it was Japan or something, was just killed with a
Yeah,
homemade
yeah,
gun. Homemade gun. So whoever tries to do a criminal attempt, and I'll give you another one. One of the worst mass shooters event in recent modern history is Vegas, right?
sure, sure,
That guy had an arsenal behind
right,
him, and he had thousands of people laying down. At the concert, he was
sure.
just shooting at them. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was 60 something people, I believe, that got killed at that event. Around that time of the year, in Spain, somebody got a truck or a van, rented it, and just went through a few blocks. He killed over 80 people.
I remember that.
So
I remember the story.
guns is not going to be the problem. There's always going to be evil people trying to do harm.
That's the artist. Guns don't kill people. It's the people that
Yes.
kill people,
Now,
and it's like you're gonna make an argument. I could get that's one of the. I can jump into a truck, and I can mow down people. I can take a kitchen knife, God forbid, and do that.
there's a lot
There's
of
just so many
things.
things you could take a frying pan. I don't know, go on a frying pan
If you want to
to knock
cause
people
harm,
right. I don't know.
you'll find a way.
Right,
Now, nothing will stop an attacker. Let's say a mass shooter event.
right,
The attack will end when another gun arrives to the scene.
right.
That's definitely. Now, law-abiding citizens, They're being proved. Actually, they made a study in Florida. They actually, I think, 3 times more law abiding than actually police officers. Because the moment you get a gun on your hip or anywhere you're carrying the gun, you have to change your mindset. You have to, because any mistake you make as a, carrying that gun most likely carries jail time. So you don't want to make any mistake. Also, when you're using the gun, you understand that you're going now through hell. There's a lot of involvement. You're going to go through court. You're going to be dragged, and that's for doing something good for other people. You still, even the attacker, the family might sue you, which is crazy, but they actually might sue you. Why did you kill them? Why didn't you do something else? Like what? Um, when deadly force is necessary, most likely you need to use deadly force to stop the attacker. Now, law-abiding citizens go through a lot to be able to carry a gun. It's not easy. In the news, they make it sound easy. It's not that easy. It's also not impossible. Well, now, before New Jersey was impossible. Now there's a path to it, but it requires a lot of training, understanding the laws, and I don't see this going crazy in New Jersey. I don't see people shooting themselves in the street or something. There might be a little bit of a spike or hike in the crimes, little, but then they tend to go down. The moment you know you can defend yourself, they're going to choose somebody else. So criminals, and specifically when we're talking about mass shooters events or things like that, they're looking for a way to be successful. So they're not looking to go to a place that they're going to have, you know, people armed there shooting back. That's why they choose gun-free zones. That's why they're the number one go-to place to do an attempt or an attack.
Amazing. So, Mark, we're coming to a close now. A friend of mine actually had sent me when I mentioned to him that we're going to be interviewing the owner of We Shoot. He suggested a very good idea to up the membership, and that on Thursday night it has become a custom in Lakewood and points beyond Lakewood to have Cholent, Thursday night Cholent.
Cholent and bullets.
Cholent and bullets.
I love the idea. I'm up
There
for
you
it.
go.
We actually have people from the deal community coming every month and doing some class, and then they go shooting. So they do both. So we have a
Really?
camera class inside, and then they go shooting. So I'm more than happy to do that. Welcome.
It's
I
great.
just need somebody to take care of it, organizing it. We have a lot of on our plate.
I hear. Mark, it's been an amazing, and we really appreciate this. And if anyone wants to join We Shoot, is there a website, a telephone number? What do they do?
WeShootUSA.com. You can sign up online, or you can come to the range and do it also. We get a lot of benefits for being a member, not just with the cheapest actually in the area. You get 2% back. Anything you spend, you get a lot of discounts. And the best thing, you get a friendly environment. Because just go to other ranges. There are very good ranges again. Most of them are good, but you go to a few, and you're going to see how the way they treat you. Here, we treat everybody as family. We want you to feel at home where you're with us.
Amazing. Everybody, this has been another episode of Chap Shmooze, or Chap Shoot. We shoot, we schmooze, we shoot, we schmooze.
We schmooze.
And we thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions of anyone that you would like to bring on to Chap Shmooze, please click right here. Right here. Right here. Right here. Yes. Good. Good. See you next time. Have a great night.